Hey everybody, it's Savage Lands News coming in this time with an absolute meat wielding savage who hit, what was it, 22nd?
Number 26,
Number
baby.
26 in the calling with Rhinar, and not just a normal Rhinar, Meataxe Rhinar. He's got like
Yap,
six
yap.
blues in that list. It's wild to see. So we had to have him on the channel. The guy is a absolute savage. And not only is not only is he a good professional blood player, he actually is a comedian, has his own podcast, his own YouTube network, and is actually hilarious to watch. You want to introduce your YouTube channel to everybody real quick?
Yes, thank you for having me on the Savage Lands. I love being in the Savage Lands. Excited to talk flesh and blood. I have a new podcast we started a few months ago called Qurators. That's my current comedy show. It's me and my friend Jeremy, who runs the Hard Drive Magazine account on Twitter. You may know that. We read Quora, and we try to answer the Quora questions, and we see what other people answered for the Quora questions. And you should check that out because I'm not going to be funny at all in this flesh and blood interview.
You really should go check it out. It's a really cool idea, and I watched a little bit of it today as he introduced me to the channel, and I loved it. So I'm gonna put all of his links in the description below. His YouTube channel, his Twitter. Go follow him. Go click subscribe. Do all of that kind of fun stuff. But you're here for Flesh and Blood, so let's jump right into the content. Right. So where are you based out of, Alex?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York. I have a wonderful apartment with my wife. I knocked over a soda can just now, and no one could tell. And yeah, I've been playing Flesh and Blood for around 1 year.
Wow. So when is that, like Tales of Aria ish? Yeah, kinda.
It was slightly
Uprising.
before the release of Uprising,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and I was very much not in a scene at the time. I was living with my in-laws and just needed a new hobby before I went insane. And then I just started buying beautiful packs of cards and figured out what they did later.
That's awesome. So how did you hear about Flesh and Blood? Because have you played any other TCGs before this?
Yeah,
Okay.
over COVID, I got very into Legends of Runeterra.
Oh, that
So
okay.
that's like a digital one.
Yeah.
But which I do really like that card game, but it does have the disincentive of when you do really well and you make really spicy decks and it's really cool, you turn around to show your friends and they're not there because you're playing on your phone alone in your house and there's a virus that's locked down the world. So
Yeah.
I wanted something more hands-on for this, and I've loved Flesh and Blood. I love the game. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, similar. I never played any card games before this, and COVID, same exact story basically. Went was just bored out of my mind. Went to a game store, and the guy was like, "Here's Flesh and Blood," and I saw people in the room, and I was like, "I can talk to people if I play this." So yeah,
That's exactly what we're talking about. I should also credit my friend Bryn, who has another Flesh and Blood YouTube called The Banished Zone,
Hmm.
who repeatedly thrust it in my face, and then I eventually just bought some cards. So shout out to her.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, nice little community too. After a while, you built up friends. This is a lot of fun. So you got in during COVID. What hero did you like start off with? Is there, because it says a lot about yourself, the first hero you pick. You know what I mean?
So I'm a brewer. I like playing all the heroes. I like
Okay.
to get the fighting game and play all the dudes. So I
Yeah.
made commoner decks for everyone. And then I found out no one wanted to play commoner, so I focused on Bravo for a while.
Okay.
And I think Bravo's a cool guy, but from a deck building perspective, doesn't leave you a lot of room to play with.
Yeah.
And I started looking into actually buying cards, which is where I became very much enamored with my friend Rhinar, who is by far the cheapest hero in the game
Yep.
and a friend to all working people, Comrade
Yep.
Rhinar.
He is the cheapest deck. Anytime somebody asks me, I'm like, here's the common deck that's basically 100% complete. You just need like two pieces of equipment. You buy that later. And it's like
For the
$100.
calling, I borrowed. My friend was sick. Adam Columbia down the street. He's a really great player. He couldn't make it. I took his Command and Conquers
Yeah.
because I could not justify a purchase of Command and Conquer. It's like 3 cards for $200 or something. I was like,
Yeah.
I just cannot get over the mental block of that. And then I won money playing the cards and bought Command and Conquer. And so there's a real victory here I hope this inspires children all over the world to buy expensive cards. I don't know what it inspires them to do specifically, but yeah, Rhinar, you can make most of the deck we're going to show you right now, like 95% of it for like $50.
Yeah, yeah, you really can. It's an underdog story. All of you out there, borrow the expensive cards, spike a tournament, go home and buy the expensive cards. I like it. Okay, so you picked Rhinar at the end because he was just a little bit more flexible, fun to build, you said, over Bravo. Yeah, Bravo's kind of just like stick every blue in there and see what happens, right?
Play Crippling Crush, bring back Crippling Crush, play Crippling Crush, dominate Crippling Crush,
Yeah.
play Crippling Crush.
Yeah. Throw a spinal in every once in a while and then hammer every other turn. Okay. So you brought Rhinar, a unique version of Rhinar. Meataxe Rhinar, which is actually really cool. I'm really excited to talk about it. How did you feel going into the event? Were you like confident that you had something nobody had seen before? Or what was your kind of mental stance as you walked into that event?
So I played a lot of games online with this deck. I played like 400 games online with this deck. So I was very confident playing the deck. And boy, was I ready to kill Guardians and Illusionists. And one thing I pretty much didn't run into at all was Guardians or Illusionists. I played 5 Lexis.
Oh my gosh.
I lost to a Phi day 2. That was unfortunate. I could have like gotten a little bit higher otherwise, I think. So yeah, I mean, you do have to know your matchups really well for this deck. It's a very specific build, and you have to know when you can play the main combo or not. But I didn't really think I was going to win any money or try to place for anything. So I was just excited to go to a tournament. This is my first big tournament.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's cool. I mean, that's a pretty good placement in a huge tournament, right? Like 900 something players. And your first tournament, your first showing on like what they call like a C, D tier hero, and you crack the top 30. That's nuts.
Yeah, it is dangerous because now that I know there's a possibility I could win money at the game, I'm going to have a deeply poisoned mind state going into every big tournament from here on, where I'm like, all right, I'll see you in the winner's circle, and then
I mean,
it's very possible to lose with this. So
you made money on the game. I would classify you as a professional player at this point.
And I would too, and that's something I'm actually getting started and getting around into the world. But
that's awesome.
Yes.
I love it. So what's your next goal now that you've done this well? Like, you setting your eyes on any specific tournament or any objective for you as a competitive player?
I like brewing mainly, and card player is not my premium high octane hobby I'm doing. I've been a stand-up comedian for 10 years, so I'm not like really throwing myself into the ditches to be the #1 Yu-Gi-Oh in the world exactly. Right. But I do want to play more big tournaments. I just love playing for 10 hours. I thought that was so much fun. I want to go to nationals next, but I have to win some draft, which I haven't really practiced. So I don't know about that.
The weakness of every brute hero, dude. Every brute player, draft is not our friend. Except for like maybe Ethan. Ethan's like the only one I know who can draft well as a brute player.
I don't know if I'm necessarily bad at it, but I don't feel confident going into a draft tournament that like, oh, I'll see you in the qualification circle. I'm making it to the next round for sure. It's like, no, I'll either have fun or not, and it'll be over for me.
Yeah. And you mentioned like you're a stand-up comedian for like the last 10 years. Do you have any shows coming up that you want anybody to know about? Or
I'm kind of between a place and producing stuff. I'm still doing shows here and there, and I'll put those on my Twitter. But
sweet.
You can come see. I know we're gonna have a live show for the Qurators podcast August 5th in the Lower East Side at Caveat, so you can check that. I don't even know if we have a link for that, but I'm gonna tell you about it now, and then it'll stick in there.
Okay. Cool. So I mean, you want to just jump right into the list, right? I'm really excited to talk about it.
I want nothing more in the entire world.
Okay, let's do it. I'll see you there. So we have his list right here on the screen, which we'll share in the description below. And as he did state earlier, he had played quite a few games. Quite a few. 378 tested games for you. We'll probably make a copy of this list so we don't ruin his results there. But we'll put this in the
Thank you.
description below. But you wanna lead us through the journey of Meataxe Rhinar?
Sure. I would like to add, I definitely ruined my own results with the first 200 games I tried to play of this deck, but do make a separate one. I love online gaming. Number
Yes.
one. Okay, yeah. So instead of going to the tech choices piece by piece, I think in order to explain this deck, you just have to take it as a whole concept, which is normally, first of all, I'd like to say I do not think this is the most competitive Rhinar deck. I think this is a B minus C plus tier Rhinar deck that happens to be the most fun deck in Flesh and Blood, and has a medium skill ceiling to play, good skill expression in it. It feels like you're juggling, which we'll get into in a minute, but there are strong deck restrictions, which is why we have 6 blues in the main build.
Yes. 6. Wonderful.
The 6 are very important. First of all, Blue Wrecker Romp, shout out to you. You make this whole thing possible. Levia has a real opportunity to build a similar deck to this for this reason, because she has more blue 6s, but you lose a very important card that we're going to get into in a second. The concept of this deck, it's the Rhinar 6 density deck, which is for all of the cards you play like Pulping or Wild Ride, you are essentially offering the player an opportunity cost. If you can tell yourself, I will for sure draw and discard a 6, you can do something with an incredible tempo advantage. And so this deck, along with the Ravenous Meataxe, which I guess would be the main thing to talk about here, essentially takes the concept, what if your deck was all 6s? Then you would never miss. And you could do this over and over again. And it's pretty good with the Meataxe. If you know you're going to discard a 6 with the Meataxe, it's the best weapon in the game. You can block 9 with 3 cards, pitch 2, swing for 5. That's 14 every hand.
Yep.
That's a competitive rate to play with. It's not going to win you a game against a 5, but it keeps you in the game until you find something better to do. So the deck restriction comes in pretty strong here. I had to find out, and this was like the first 100, 200 games I was playing, what's this lowest number of non-6s I can put in and win? And I tried for a very long time to play without Bloodrush Bellow, which, as you probably know, Nathan, is impossible because Bloodrush Bellow is the best brute card. There is no good deck without Bloodrush Bellow.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, but we're kind of held together by a single card.
That's why the competitive Rhinar decks are set up Bloodrush Bellow, play Bloodrush Bellow, do 20 damage. You're good. Reset, do it again.
Yep. Basically.
And I wanted to see how far we could get, because the thing about Bloodrush Bellow, love it, it doesn't have a 6 on it. So I don't want to put it in. I can't hit it with the axe.
Yeah.
It doesn't end well. You're essentially playing a deck made around a combo. My main inspiration for building this is in Runeterra. Without getting too deep into the weeds of it, there's a deck called Lurk, which has the building restriction. If you attack and there's a card with the keyword Lurk on top of your deck, all of your little buddies get +1 for the rest of the game. So players found out that you could make a strong tempo deck with that. If you just put in 90% Lurk cards, you would never miss.
I played
that's
Legends.
What we're doing here.
I played Legends for a tiny bit, so I actually kind of understand what you're saying. I played Deep though because I like big numbers. That was really
Deep's really good right now.
I might come back.
They like overtuned it because
I might come back.
Don't like playing it.
I'll go play it. Okay.
But anyway, that's just to say that we're essentially trying to operate around the fact that Rhinar's cards all have or the good ones that we're playing around have a text on it that say if you discard 6, you get a bonus, and we always want to get the bonus.
Yep.
So the main cards we're playing around: Pulping, Wild Ride, which are both, if you don't know, draw a card, discard a random card. If it's a 6, you get go again. For 2, which is pennies, it's nothing.
Yeah.
as long as one of the cards you draw is a yellow, you can keep going. And then a card that was released in, I think, at Dynasty, which is Berserk, which a lot of people have played around. It's in the sideboard because you cannot play it in most of the builds in this deck. This is a Berserk deck. When you play against other people and you play Berserk, they're going to roll their eyes because you're playing the Berserk combo deck. Berserk is a very fun card. They may have to remove from the game if it gets too good, which is anytime you discard a 6, if the top card on your deck is a 6, you can draw it, which makes Wild Ride a 2-cost, 4 free, no discard because you draw something, 6 go again. So if you play Berserk and you keep playing 6 draw discards, your turn will never end. And you can do things like, I've played 400 games. I've only done this one time. On turn 0, you can play Berserk, Blood Rush Bellow, and then do 40 damage before the game starts. This is the deck to play to watch your very serious card opponent get very upset with you in a way that they have to process on an emotional level. And if that's what you're playing the game for, give it a try.
It happened to me yesterday. Legitimately yesterday. I opened up my turn 1 at my armory, got whooped by Alexi. Very sad. No blood rushes, rolled 2 1s. I roll into a person who flips Rhinar and then flips Meataxe, and I'm like, oh no. And then they berserk blood rushed me and I died.
If you get it, it's great.
It's like 36 damage.
Kind of hard, but it's good. And you can also get it and then still fall flat. So I do think another requirement of playing this deck is having your own emotions in check. You have to understand when you don't get it. There's other things in this world you can love. You have to. Sometimes you weren't supposed to win. It's like rolling a 1.
Yeah.
It's like rolling a 1.
Yep.
When I was testing games the night before the calling with my friend Eric Lagacha, who runs the armories in Brooklyn, I hit a Beast Within on a combo turn.
Yep.
And discarded 4 non-6s, which in the Berserk build of this deck, there are, in the entire thing, 9 non-6s. So that is highly unlikely to happen to you.
Yeah.
And essentially, the way you play it, if you were playing the main build, the Berserk build, you have no D-React, you have no A-React. You can't play them because they don't have 6 on them, and because you will discard them at the wrong time.
Yep.
You combine 2 of your 3 different combo cards and play them at the same time. And then you have a good chance to do very above rate damage for that turn. And what I like about this, I guess Rhinar doesn't have as much problem with this as other heroes, but I played a lot of Dromai, and there really aren't any auto-lose matchups, which are not fun to play.
Yeah.
I played 5 Lexis in the calling. I went 3-2 against them. They're like our worst matchup. Any aggro deck you don't really want to play against, you don't have very much hand disruption, you can just say, okay, I'm going to try to race and get my combo. And if I get it, I will threaten 30 damage and they'll have to change other play.
Yep. Okay. And so you have like 2 shells inside of this deck, right? You've kind of got like what looks to be like a defensive package. I'm assuming you swap these out for like your non-blocks or something along those lines. And then you got this like mega berserk combo, right?
Yeah, I have the matchups at the top if you wanted to do the thing where it says default matchup.
Okay. Yeah, so you got like a berserk package, a D-React package, a Viscerai package. I like it. I also,
we're not bad against Viscerai.
I hate Viscerai, so but if I can improve my Viscerai matchup, I'm interested. And then you've got my favorite 2 words stuck right next to each other, and that is a wizard killer package. I love that because I also hate wizards with my whole being. So
when I was making this, it was all Icelander meta. So it was like, yeah, I'll bring this. I'll play Icelanders. It will go great. A million damage. They'll die. It'll be awesome.
That is awesome. So So this Berserk package is just it's 100% combo. You are racing. What heroes do you typically run the Berserk package into?
So here's the matchups I'm very confident about.
Okay.
Any aggro deck that's going to have tempo spikes you can't wait out with your slower build.
Okay.
Phi, Lexi, possibly Azalea. I could do more Azalea testing, honestly.
Okay.
You do Berserk. And your plan is to arsenal a combo piece, get another one, play both. Don't block. Hopefully they don't have any actual hand disruption because they're just trying to do 30 damage.
Yep.
And then 50-50 chance you'll get it. I mean, against Phi, you have 3 turns, which is pretty limiting. But
yeah.
you do a lot of damage too, so you're keeping them on their toes. I think I lost my Phi game by like 2 or 4 or something. It was
okay, that's not bad.
Like not close, and I didn't get my combo. So, it can be tough though because if you're at low health, you can't really take a full punch to the face and then swing back at them. You have to sacrifice a card or 2 and then high roll. Wizards looking great against wizards with the wizard version of the deck. You just present more damage than they want to deal with.
Okay.
And then the most important reason you would play the Berserk build is you hate Oldhim and Dromai, and you want to smash them.
Really?
You don't want to play the game against Oldhim. You have a personal grudge against Oldhim players, and you want to kill them by doing more damage than they can deal with. There is a chance both of those decks can fatigue you because you discard half your deck while playing it.
Yeah.
But if you get your combo and they block 5 cards worth with Crown of Seeds and they're doing all their hand disruption stuff, if you have your Berserk combo, you just keep drawing cards and it doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
So it's great tech into Oldhim. I beat Michael Fang's Oldhim in ProQuest. That was my first match at a tournament. I found out who he was later. I thought that was great.
That's pretty cool. Humble brag. I like it. That's a big name now.
It's pretty cool. I don't like watch that much Flesh and Blood media except this channel, which is #1. And so I didn't really realize people thought that was cool until later. But here's my last brag, and then I promise I won't do anymore. But I did. The one wizard I faced the entire calling was Majin Bay, who is a Runeterra streamer I've watched videos of for years. And he was playing Kano, and I just smashed him. The Kano matchup, you're pretty much playing Rhinar Kano. So they have to respect what you're doing. You're just doing what they do.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. I like the concept a lot. You mind if I jump into some like questions I have? Because I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So you got this is like your 51 card main board, which makes sense to me, right? Your 6 blues. I'm assuming Sand Sketch Plan is just the best blue because on Berserk turns it's actually card positive. Is that why it's in the list?
It is one of your main combo pieces.
Yeah.
You can do 20 plus damage with just 1 card to pitch, Berserk and Sand Sketch Plan. You get mana, you play Berserk, and then you find Beast Within. That draws you 2 cards. You press your Skullhorn. That draws you another card. If one of those was a 6 go again, you draw another card, and it can keep going. If you attack twice and hit what's it called? Savage Beatdown.
Savage Beatdown.
That's still 17 damage, which is an above rate turn.
Yeah, that's nuts.
My alternate name for the deck was Mr. 17 because regularly we are just trying to do 17, and you can do it pretty regularly if you attack 3 times.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So Sand Sketch Plan totally makes sense. And then I'm assuming the yellow quantities, like Wrecker Romp is like a terrible card, but it's there because you need 2 cost 7. You need 6 power yellows, and they probably need to be 2 cost, right? So you
need 6 power yellows. You want them to block 3, which is why I don't have Wounding Bull in here anymore.
Okay.
It was in the list for a while. And your yellows are your blues. All of your cards cost 2, pretty much. The ones you want to play anyway. If you have I don't know, if you have Reincarnate in hand and the Meataxe, you pitch 2 and swing the Meataxe.
Makes
If you
sense.
have 2 cards in hands, you have less of a chance of not hitting a 6, as you go over in your brute math video.
Yeah.
And then also you get an Arsenal card.
Yeah.
The Arsenal is the trickiest part about playing this deck. It's not like a normal deck. You need very specific cards in your arsenal because you do not have blues.
Yep. And Meataxe also like really compounds difficulty controlling your arsenal because it discards a card from your hand and you don't know which one it's going to be. And then you draw a
Which one
random
it's going to
card.
be? You either want a combo piece or a red, pretty much. Any of the reds are good. There are some in there that are just there to safely control your hand. So Command and Conquer, again, I did not own when I went into this tournament. It was a pack hunt. The point is you play pack hunt in Arsenal. It's a safe way to do 6, and then you put Blood Rush Bellow in your Arsenal.
Okay. And then your sideboard cards, you have 2 copies of Bare Fangs. Is this just because you were afraid of the non-blocks, like going too high on non-blocks?
It's actually more about mana balance because you need more yellows than reds.
Okay.
Bare Fangs, I was not on at all. I thought it was a bad card because it does not block, and any combo deck in any card game, you want to block until you play your combo. So I was like, this doesn't block. I don't like it.
Yep.
But what I didn't realize, and this is the expression that comes out in the Wizard Killer sideboard, is for your other matchups where you're not playing Berserk, you still have a deck with 47 or 56s in it, and you need high tempo plays that benefit from discarding a 6. And Bare Fangs is 2 more swing bigs plus Intimidate, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then Swing with Big Tree, I'm assuming it's a 2 for 6 yellow, right? And then have you ever tried any of those other, like, I don't know, what's that Prism card called? The generic red 6 that Prism used to play, or red 7. There's a yellow one. Righteous, it's like Righteous something. I don't remember the name. I could find it. Have you tried any of the generic 6s?
What does the card do?
It's just
I used to have Wounding Bowl.
Yeah, it's just the 3 for 6 yellow. Generic.
So here's the thing is you don't have 3 mana almost ever.
Yeah, okay.
So you really want 2 for 6 if you can do it.
Yeah, okay.
Smash the Big Tree, except for the fact it doesn't block, fantastic card. I'm happy putting this card in Arsenal in a way I'm not with Smash Instinct.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true. Okay. And then when do the Reckless Swings come in?
So one of your sideboards, the irregular sideboards about this deck is that instead of it rotating individual cards in, you have to do it in packages. And the 2 packages I have that aren't Berserk are as many blues as possible, which is what you need against Wizards.
Okay.
And the off chance Kano is Kanoing or Old Tim plays nice cards, you need to have, closer to 12 to keep doing the main things you do. Okay. And then against Dory, unfortunately, Bravo, who I liked playing Berserk against, but I think came to the sad realization I needed D-Reacts. You need D-Reacts, and because you play 51 6s, most of your deck is full. So the rest of the sideboard's all Sink Below, Fate Foreseen. I really don't think there's really any room to change anything in this deck list. I've played it a lot with the cards out. If you don't have Command and Conquer, you can play cut down to size.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the Ghetto Command and Conquer. It's all right, but you really Command and Conquer is an overtuned card. It blocks 3. It does. You can't play defense reactions. It's really annoying. It will stop a ninja dead.
Yeah, it's too good of a card.
Yeah, so I played the defense reaction mode into Katsu, and all the other modes, important to say, are claws. You do not want to be swinging the axe.
How do you manage to pay for claws?
So the main way is, if anything, you want to kind of save your Blood Rush Bellows.
Okay.
You play even slower. You maybe pitch the first one you see for a while and then play the next one.
Okay.
Because you'll get to your blues. You're gonna pitch them once.
So
and in the meantime, you can just Bare Fang, swing big, Bare Fang, swing big.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's basically It's basically turns into the claws deck, just with a lot less blues. So you basically pivot into like the claws strategy, the blood rush defensive strategy against like grindier heroes, and then you just have to be a little bit more careful with your blood rushes, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you can't play against Dory without D-Reacts. They're just matchups you can't play without them.
That makes sense.
And so you are playing a suboptimal claws deck. You should be aware of that. If you're playing all claws matchups, you should play a different Rhinar deck.
Okay.
But you can beat Katsu. You can beat Bravo most of the time. I
Okay.
had like an 80% win rate against Bravo. I don't know what happened. And then somebody put out a video or something, and they all started killing me from 80 to 20% win rate. I don't know what it was. I used to be able to combo them, and it was great.
Somebody did a deck tech and ruined everything.
I don't know what happened.
And then have you ever considered, so you have Barkbone in the list, right? I mean, I get the purpose, right? You roll a 4, you pay for your blood rush and your berserk for free, and it blocks 1. Have you considered like cross trap?
I've considered cross trap. The Barkbone is very handy in aggro matchups because it blocks 1 first. So you're getting 1 value out of it. Those get sweaty. You may not find your combo, and then you're just doing points of life 1 at a time. And the other thing too, I mean, because I before going to the calling, I was like, it's too bad I don't have Fendel. I'm not going to buy one because they're too expensive, but it would be the optimal card to play. But then actually in the tournament, I played all these Lexi games where I had to kill them by turn 4, and I wouldn't have had mana. And some of them I rolled a 6 on Barkbone strapping and went off, and it wouldn't have happened if I didn't have this. So I think if you're rolling it with a Gambler's Glove, it's not a bad option.
Okay.
You just have to be aware you may need to use it on Barkbone instead of your feet, and then you probably don't want to roll
your feet.
This deck you gotta love to roll, though. Don't play this deck if you don't like rolling.
Yeah, in my testing with it, I noticed that you gotta roll a lot. Yeah. Okay. No, it totally makes sense. I really like the concept. I like it a lot. I was actually working on something like this. I think you have some better card choices than I had, because I never quite finished it because I was worried about Pro Tour and all of that. But you know, I actually really like the ratios in here. Is there anything else you wanted to point out about the list? In particular, or like play styles that you kind of have to look out for, or play patterns?
I can explain the Viserai matchup.
Okay.
Which is Rhinar's usually weakest matchup.
Yep.
And that is that you are changing your equipment so that you don't need Gambler's Glove. You have Beaten Trackers in there. You just have 1 Arcane Barrier on your arm.
Yep.
You can block all of the Arcane you need to there, should you choose to. But you're just trying to kill them. You're playing it like a Wizard matchup. You play Berserk, and you hope you do 40 damage before they get their card. And they're not going to expect it. So it's very possible to steal it out there.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah, anything I can do to make my Viserai matchup better, I'll do. Because he's back on the rise. My LGS has like 3 of them now. I think after that, the bun list made top 8. I think Viserai is going to come back. And I think
I beat him. I beat him at the calling.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I must have been his like 1 loss. I won with 1 life with the claws build.
You beat him with the claws build?
Yeah.
That is.
I played Friday. I played 1 game against a Dash who I tried to combo, and then he said never race Dash, and I listened very sagely to him. He did pretty well at the calling, and then I managed to beat Bun by 1 life, and he looked very upset. Great deck to watch people get upset. Can't stress that enough.
If you like ruining
pack up your cards and leave. They're not gonna talk to you.
That is, I believe it, right? I was in shock when I got blown out by this list, to be honest. I was like, wow, what am I doing here? It does so much damage. Okay, cool. I mean, this list is badass. You did really well with it, right? Like there's some meat in here, right? You know, maybe we can use our United Brute Brain Cell, and everybody out there can optimize this to the maximum extent. Maybe we'll start seeing some Berserk calling spikes coming up in the near future. Some battle hardened spikes, maybe. That would be rad.
I'd love that. It's a very toxic deck. I'd love to spread it to the community and force bans.
D tier hero gonna get hit with a ban stick. Okay, cool. And one more time, just so everybody remembers, you guys need to go check out his YouTube channel, his Twitter, Qurators. It's pretty actually awesome. The questions you guys find out there are wild. The answers
They're
are
important, is what they are.
yeah.
They're to be
Sometimes the
studied in
answers
a
are
public
even
forum.
worse. But yeah, check out his YouTube channel. Go subscribe. Go give him a like. Go ahead and take this list to your local armory. Make people cry. Hurt feelings. Play Rhinar the way he's supposed to be played. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we take off there, Alex?
This may be too off topic, but I wanted to ask you how your Lexi matchup is, because that is the main thing I'm feeling after doing that tournament.
Oh, bro, my Lexi matchup is hopes and dreams, man. It's hopes and dreams.
Okay.
I shoved.
Maybe this is the deck for the moment then.
No, legitimately, I've been testing a Berserk Meataxe list because I am desperate.
Okay.
I force them into a coin flip with my list. I do the same thing you kind of do, but I have to, my coin flip cards are like E-Strike and Savage Feast. But I mean, it's ultimately like, do I find Blood Rush fast enough?
For sure.
Right. I don't.
And
she doesn't
still
play
be
fair.
Feeling that over here. You still need to find Blood Rush Bellow. It's just the best brute card. You can't take it out of your all sixes list.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Yeah, Lexi just doesn't play by the normal aggro rules. Like, I can beat Fai's, I can beat Katsu's, I can beat almost any other aggro deck except for Viscerai. But Lexi is just every card does one more damage than it should, and it has an on hit that really punishes you. So you can't even like leak 3 a turn. You have to like choose which terrible arrow you're gonna let hit every single turn. You know what I mean?
Oh, this is the last thing I'll say, which is if it's the Fi meta again, just throw this away. Just that was not fun for me.
Yeah, Fi might be on the spike again too. Well, we'll see. Yeah, see, I'm worried about Rhinar's future right now because it was like just Lexi. And that's fine, because then we have all the Oldims, all the Dromais, all the Bravos, and all of those other decks that we can kind of deal with. But the first week of RTN, everybody's like, okay, it's Lexi, Fi, Katsu, and Viscerai now. And it's like, wow, you couldn't have picked 4 heroes I wanted to play less.
It's really sad. I'm still heartbroken I did not play a Guardian that entire tournament, but here we go.
Yeah. If the Purple Man, Lexi, and both ninjas are the top aggro decks right now, I'm worried.
When are we gonna get the Dromai meta that we can then ruin with our cards?
It was there for a second. We had a brief moment, and they all disappeared.
Do you know how hard it is to lose Dromai with 51 sixes? You can't do it.
Yeah,
you can't lose.
Can you just fatigue them permanently, basically?
No, they can actually fatigue you, which people don't realize while you're playing them, but you discard your whole thing so fast. That's
guess
like
that's
the
true.
one way they have out.
You could probably just like pop and swing a regular attack and then pop and swing a regular attack, and they maybe would get fatigued. But I guess you can't pop with like pulping and wild ride and stuff, right?
If they play, so I've lost like 2 games to Dromai's, or that's exaggerating, but I lost more when I was figuring it out. But the way you lose it is they play too many phantasm stoppers, and you don't stop to pop those. And if like they remembrance back 3 more, you may run out of cards before you can kill them. That can happen. That's real.
That makes sense.
But otherwise, I killed all the ones in the tournament very easily. And they were great players.
Yeah. The ones the Dromais I ran into the tournament I beat. But that's just because I blood rushed 4 times every game.
Keep it up. We have a reputation to uphold.
Yeah, just savagely play one card over and over and over again, and that's it. Okay.
Because that's the thing, is people get mad when you play the Berserk combo, do 40 damage cards. They get mad at you no matter what when you're Rhinar.
Dude,
they don't give you the respect you deserve.
The amount of salty players. The amount of salty players out there is ridiculous. Like, I beat a Briar, and they're like, way to high roll me. And it's like, you're playing the high roll deck.
Exactly.
Your deck exists to high roll people. Come on.
If there's one comparison for the Berserk combo, it is Briar's combo. It's
Force of Nature channel mount.
And you have to roll more dice, which makes them more upset.
I love the value of this list of hurting emotions.
It comes from a dark place.
Yeah, somebody hurt you as a child, man. Okay. All right. Well, it was a pleasure having you on the channel, man. You are absolutely hilarious and fun to talk to. Everybody go check out his stuff. Support them. Support our local fab players. We need to make sure his content makes him money so he can afford Command and Conquers in the future for his next list or whatever new expensive brute card might come out one day. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the channel. I really appreciate the time. And this is a really cool list. So I'm going to go play with it on my locals and see how many people I can hurt.
Thanks so much. I love the channel.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you around.
Bye-bye.
Bye.